Hello class 10. Today we are going to start with the new chapter current electricity. So the first thing that we are going to discuss over here is about charge. In class 9 you may have studied that there are two types of charges, namely negative and positive charges. So a charge of 1 electron is equal to minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. The capital C over here represents the unit coulomb. And we also know that the same charges or like charges repel and unlike charges attract. Next is current. The current is defined as the rate of flow of charge. That means how much amount of charge flows in 1 second or at unit time. That will give us the idea of the current. Usually current is represented by capital I, which is equal to charge by time, that is equal to capital Q charge divided by small t. The unit of charge is coulomb and the unit of time is second. So coulomb divided by second is equal to ampere. And if we have to define how much is 1 ampere, then we can say that 1 ampere is the current in which 1 coulomb of charge flows in 1 second. So thus 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb per second. Next, if there is a body, a conductor, and if n number of electrons are flowing in this direction towards right at the time t, then the total charge of that body is represented as capital Q, which is equal to total number of electrons multiplied with the charge of 1 electron. Hence, the current, which is equal to Q by T, now becomes equal to Ne by T. And also we must know that when the electrons are moving towards this direction, then the current is assumed by convention that the current flows in the opposite direction. That means towards this direction. So when the electrons are moving from this end to this end, the current will be flowing from this end to this end. So just remember that the flow of current will be just the opposite to the direction of the flow of electrons. So it's by convention electric current flows in opposite direction to the movement of electrons. Potential. The potential at a point is the amount of work done per unit charge in bringing a positive test charge from infinity to that point. It means that suppose if there is a charged body, a positively charged body, and there is a small positive unit charge, or let's say a positive test charge far away at infinity. Let's say it is plus Q, means its charge is Q. Now, in order to bring this test charge towards the positively charged body, there needs to be some work done because both the charges are positive, and since the positive charges repel each other, so there must be some work done in order to bring this charge towards the positively charged body. So if you try to bring it towards the positively charged body, and let's say we bring it up to the point P, then the amount of work done in order to bring this charge up to the point P will be considered as the electric potential of that point P. So we define it as if W joule of work is done to bring the test charge Q coulomb from infinity to the point P, then the electric potential V at that point will be given by V is equal to W by Q. That means W represents the work done and Q represents the charge. So V is the potential, electric potential of that particular point P. That is the potential at that point P will be given by the amount of work done in order to bring this charge from infinity towards that, towards the towards the positively charged body up to the point P. All right. So work done in bringing charge Q from infinity to the point P, where electrical potential is V, will be, that is the work will be equal to Q into V. This is given by the cross multiplication of V and Q. So W is equal to V multiplies Q. Next, the unit of this electric potential. V is given as W by Q. That means the work done by the charge. Work done is, the unit is joule and the charge is coulomb. So the electric potential is equal to joule by coulomb. So if electric potential V is 1 volt, then it's represented as 1 volt is equal to 1 joule per coulomb. So 1 joule per coulomb is the unit of electric potential, that is 1 volt. Potential difference. Suppose if there are 2 points A and B and a unit charge of 1 coulomb is moved from point A to point B, then the amount of work done in order to bring this charge of 1 coulomb from point A to point B will be the potential difference of the 2 points. So the definition for the potential difference will be the potential difference PD between 2 points is equal to the work done per unit charge in moving a positive test charge from one point to the other. That means how much work will be done in order to move the charge from this point to this point B, that much amount of work done will be equal to the potential difference of point A and point B. Right? So mathematically we can write down that potential of A minus potential of B, that will be the potential difference, which will be equal to work done by charge coulomb. Okay, so the unit will be equal to, if 1 joule of work is done in bringing 1 coulomb charge from one point to the other, then the potential difference is said to be 1 volt. So the unit is going to be 1 volt again, just like potential, electric potential of a particular point. Potential difference also has the same unit, because over here also V potential is equal to W by Q, and the potential difference is also equal to W by Q, that is equal to 1 volt equals 1 joule per coulomb. So you can see that the potential difference and the electric potential of a particular point both has the same unit. Next we move on to Ohm's law. George Simon Ohm was the scientist who gave this law, and in this law he clearly states that the current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across its ends if all the physical conditions are kept constant. This means that if the current flows in a particular circuit, okay, in a conductor, And if you don't alter any conditions, if you don't if the temperature is not heated, if the pressure or any other conditions, any other physical conditions are not changed, then the current which flows through the conductor will be directly proportional to the potential difference across the two ends. So mathematically we write it as I being proportional to V. And you know that whenever we replace the proportionality sign, this sign, by equals to, then we always write it as V by I equals to constant. Means whenever you replace the proportionality sign by equals to, then we have to replace it with some constant value. So V by I will be equal to some constant, and that constant is R, that is the resistance. So V by I is equal to constant, that means V will be equal to that constant into I, that is equal to I into R, and R is the constant at that given temperature. And what is this R? R is called as the resistance. So let's look at the unit of resistance. Unit of resistance R, since R is equal to V by I and V is equal to volt, I is ampere. So volt by ampere is equal to ohm. Ohm is the unit which is also represented as the Greek letter omega. This is the Greek letter omega. Alright, so whenever we need to write down resistance of a particular conductor, then we write it as this sign, and we read it as ohm. Alright, so what is 1 ohm equal to? Then if 1 ampere of current flows through the conductor, when the potential difference is 1 volt, then the resistance of the conductor is said to be 1 ohm. That means if 1 ohm is the resistance, then the voltage across will be 1 volt and the current flowing through will be 1 ampere. So 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt by 1 ampere. So what is resistance actually? Resistance is actually the obstruction offered to the flow of current by the conductor. That means if there is a conductor and here you can see the electrons are moving randomly, because these electrons are the free electrons which exhibit random motion. So when they move randomly, they they don't move in a particularly fixed direction. So the net flow of these electrons which carry the charges will be zero. When they are connected with the electric charge or applied negative and positive terminals respectively at the two ends, then the electrons are aligned in such a way that their speed increases. And when the speed increases, the electrons which are free to move, they'll start colliding against the positively charged atoms. When they collide with these atoms, they lose their kinetic energy and thus their speed is decreased.
So their speed decreases as they lose their kinetic energy. So the resistance of a conductor depends on the number of collisions suffered by the electrons with the positive ions while moving from one end to the other end. So if the number of collisions are less, then the resistance will be less. If the number of collisions are more, then the resistance will be more.